Welcome back to the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. If you'd like to contact the show, we're on Twitter at Session Shankly, or you'll find us on the upper tier on Facebook and Instagram. Joining me, as always, my partner on the Liverpool podcast, Dean Fitz. How are we doing, Dean?
Fucking sound, la. 4 weeks to the day, we'll be on the beautiful red side of Mersey. I
Absolutely.
can't fucking wait.
Well, as you can imagine from my background, this is your Liverpool versus Man City preview. If there was ever a Super Sunday, this is the Super Sunday. Salah versus Grealish. Initial thoughts, what are you thinking?
I am not going to say who I stuck as my captain in my fantasy football team, but I've had him as my the captain of my fantasy football team every week so far this season. He hasn't disappointed. He hasn't let me down. He's top
Andros Townsend.
He's top scorer in the Premier League, and I think tomorrow, a massive opportunity to take them after the bump that they got on Wednesday night or on Tuesday night. I imagine Anfield is going to be absolutely electric tomorrow, and they were just talking about Mo Salah on Soccer Saturday, talking about how they're still the most wasteful team in the league, but still top of the league. And I just think tomorrow, I was saying about we're going to give someone a hide, and I have a feeling this is going to be a 3 or 4-1 to Liverpool. Could be totally wrong. City could turn up and put in the best ever performance they have under Pep, but I just think tomorrow Mo's going to turn up. I think Bobby will start. Curtis Jones again, showing that, you don't need to spend 100 million on talent to be classed as quality. Capitalise again on an opportunity that he has now to keep Keita and Thiago out of the team. But I'm really, really excited about tomorrow, and I'm quietly confident that we'll be getting 3 points.
What have you made of City this season? I mean, obviously they got beaten by PSG the other night, but I mean, they had their chances as well. They were unlucky at times. But they were very impressive, I thought, against Chelsea last weekend. You're saying more like the City that we're used to.
Yeah, but they turned up like that, but is that a once-off, or is that them finally putting the ball into motion for their attack on winning the Premier League? But like the Spurs game at the start of the season, that shows that they are human. And then they went on a win, or a run of 4 wins in a row, be it 3 games at home. One was a Champions League game, and then the game against Southampton again shows the vulnerability that there is there in that team. Got blessed with the Kyle Walker decision. Could have easily lost that game. And then obviously give Wickham a hiding in the FA or in the Capital One Cup. And then, the performance against Chelsea was absolutely outstanding. I was not expecting that at all. I think people would have been quietly confident of a Chelsea win there, or at least getting a point out of the game. But Man City, what a performance. Chelsea couldn't get near them for a good 60 minutes. And City showed what they're made of. But then they go out, albeit against PSG, who are one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. But as you said, they were unlucky. They had got chances, but they didn't take the chances. At the end of the day, you don't take your chances against a team like PSG. They will capitalise. But as I said, City could turn up tomorrow and put in a shift like they did against Chelsea. But it did take, not saying it took a lot out of players, but it takes a massive, massive effort to get on one page all together against one of the best teams in the league in Chelsea. But then to go out and lose against PSG, I just think that Klopp will know what to say to the boys to get them up for tomorrow. He'll know exactly what to say. The fans will know exactly what to do. And Guardiola's coming out this week saying, nobody's giving us credit for the performance we put in last year. Yeah, but nobody's also mentioning that, Liverpool were makeshift at the time.
Half a team, yeah.
There was half a team. City's full strength 11. There were no fans there. And Pep is saying that, I'd rather face them at a full Anfield. Who wouldn't want it? But the last time that Liverpool were up for a Chelsea or Liverpool City game at Anfield, and the place was electrifying. I think it finished, was a 4-3 or 5-3? 4-3?
4-3.
4-3. And all the boys turned up. And I just think tomorrow is going to be the same. I just don't think we can see a 3.
I think in terms of City this season, I mean, obviously the boy Grealish, absolutely fantastic sign, an absolute baller, you know. But is it fair to say with Pep at the moment, is he still trying to figure out his starting 11 and his formation?
Yeah, definitely. There's too much quality in the squad there to be able to turn around. There's like you look at City squad, you look at the starting, you'd still even picking the strongest actual 11. You'd struggle when you get to 3 or 4 positions on the pitch because of the quality that they have on the bench. Do you know what I think it is down Niall? Like, he's won the Premier Leagues, he's won FA Cups, he's won the Capital One Cup. There's so much pressure on winning the Champions League at that club now that he's going into games, and I know for a fact he's second guessing himself. Do I take the risk? Do I play this player? You know, when Liverpool won the Champions League, we lost the final the year before. When Liverpool won the Premier League, we lost the league by a point the year before. There comes a time where you have to make the decision, and your mind has to be set on the first decision it makes, unless someone gets injured or someone, like, you know, the worst case scenario. And I just think that he needs to take that pressure of winning the Champions League off his shoulders, as impossible as it is. But look at the scrum with the fans last week. You know, it is creeping in on him. You know what I mean? And it's always been with the fans. In my personal opinion, Man City fans don't deserve success, because you never see them. They struggle to sell out Champions League quarterfinals, Champions League semi-finals. You know, they're barely there in the midweek games, and they can make excuses about school nights. Liverpool could be playing against Sheriff YC on a Wednesday night, and I guarantee it'd be full to the brim. You know, there's just that the fans, and unless that team is winning, the fans and the team aren't on the same page, in my opinion. Look, when they won the league last year, about 50, 100 people turned up, and as soon as they drop off the standards that the fans just demand, the fans will turn against them. And it happened a couple of weeks ago. And who's to say that they don't lose a couple of games and it happens again? And it's just going to stew and stew and stew and stew. And it will tell the second half of the season, because if they lose a couple of players to injuries, or Liverpool beat them tomorrow and we go on a run and we keep them behind us, and let's say they got knocked out of Champions League groups, or they got knocked out of Champions League early, they'll just turn on them again. So, you know, there is a few question marks on them.
Yeah, let's go through some team news. Starting with Liverpool. Trent obviously is out. He has some sort of a groin problem that's going to keep him out for a few weeks. So James Milner steps in. I thought Milner the other night, you know, started off a little bit slow against your man Diaz, but grew into the game and was absolutely outstanding. I suppose the one thing that Milner gives us that Trent doesn't give us at times is that little bit of cover in terms of defensive quality. So I wouldn't be too worried about the change there. If anything, I think, you know, against a potent City side out there, I think it actually it helps us a little bit. What you thinking on that?
Yeah, 100%. Craig, when Milner was named in the starting lineup last week, he was kind of a bit iffy. You know, Trent is as good as we know he is, but you're leaving yourself vulnerable having a player who's so attacking minded, you know, and is prone. Not, you know, I'm not saying he does it every week, but we have seen that little lapse in concentration. You know what I mean? And against an attack like City, you have to be set on it, like from the first whistle till the very last whistle. And it could be a blessing in disguise that Milner will be like standing in there tomorrow, because we've seen against Porto, we've seen against Crystal Palace, that stability, that bit of backbone. He's clever. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's been around the block about 20 times. So yeah, it could actually be a blessing in disguise. I'm not questioning Milner starting at all whatsoever. When I seen he was in the lineup last week straight away, or not last week, the Palace game, you know, it was absolutely buzzing, if I'm honest, because you know he's going to put a shift in. You know, he doesn't let anybody fall asleep. Everybody stays in check the whole time he's on the pitch. You know what I mean? He knows what to do. He's a real leader. So, yeah, it could be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it's like having an extra captain, really, isn't it, when you think about it? Thiago obviously is out with his calf injury, due to be back after the international break. He's one that was really rocking, on his range of passing would have been vital against him. But the boy Curtis has come in and he's been outstanding, I think. I mean, he was very unlucky against Brentford to be subbed off after an absolute belter of a goal. But was absolutely outstanding during the week against Porto. Didn't look out of place at all. Was pulling the strings for a young lad. So I'm looking forward to seeing him potentially against City. So when you're looking, obviously Harvey Elliott's out as well, as we know. I would have loved to see him against City. But we're going to go, it looks like we're going to go with, I think, Alisson, Milner, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Henderson, Fabinho, Jones, Salah, Jota, and Mane. Do you think Jota goes in there or Firmino? What you thinking?
I personally think he'll start Firmino tomorrow. You know, he only came on 20 minutes to go, only 15 minutes to go, 20 minutes. He's a bit fresher. You know, the 2 goals. You know, he could easily go with Jota, but I don't know. I just think Bobby came in, proved the point, 2 goals. You know, I'm still here. He seemed to be the guy that was taken out of the team whenever Jota started. Jota's played a good few games on the bounce now the last few weeks. So I think Firmino will start, which will be the band back together. And I just think Bobby will be flying after Tuesday night's performance, coming on, getting the 2 goals. You know, at a full Anfield tomorrow, they do love to sing the C Senor. But back to Curtis Jones. What a performance the other night. I was highly critical of him after the Burnley or the Brentford game. But then he scored the goal, and, you know, I was questioning did he make the right decision and whipping him off straight away? Having a bad game, gets a goal like that, and then has that fire in his belly to go on then for the rest of the game and possibly score again or create the winner. But look, we can't go back to last week. But what an opportunity tomorrow. He will be absolutely buzzing going out there tomorrow. Full Anfield singing his name, hopefully playing without fear. You know, all the talk is of how good De Bruyne is, how good Grealish is, will Foden start. You know, there's no pressure on him tomorrow, in my opinion. You know, but the only pressure that will be on him is his expectations, because he knows that a performance like Porto was in him. So why not go and do it tomorrow with the confidence that you have after that performance you put in on Tuesday night, and go out tomorrow when the game is going to be flying at 100 miles an hour. You know, there's a big opportunity, and he could be the big winner tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Some Man City news. Gundogan is out until the international break with a thigh injury, and Zinchenko should return, is what they're saying. And obviously Mendy is suspended still by the club based on ongoing legal issues. So their team is looking like Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, De Bruyne, Rodri, Silva, Jesus, Foden, and Grealish. Quite a potent lineup.
Potent lineup, but I'm looking at the squad there on paper. We know how good they are on the pitch. We know that what City can do and all, but I think teams feared them for too long. We've seen this year on 3 occasions that they are human, you know, and could be a case of they haven't, other than Diaz, they brought in Grealish. Grealish has kind of been a standout player for them and all, but, you know, on paper, for me, it's not as frightening as it used to be. And I just think that with us having a bit more of a backbone now in the squad, you know, I know we're missing Thiago and Kate and all. I just think that we're not replacing Aguero up top. I just think if it comes down to a shootout of firepower, that we have more up top than they do. I'm absolutely buzzing for the game. I'm genuinely buzzing for the game. There was a time where you came up against City and you're thinking to yourself, you know, if this goes wrong, you could get trashed here. And we look at the way teams play, so frustrating. When teams play against Liverpool, they kind of have Liverpool read, and they know how to set up, and, you know, they can catch them on the counter and all. Just think teams play against City and they just sit back, expecting to get a hiding, which won't be the case tomorrow. I think with Virgil back, with Matip back, with Gomez back, you know, Konate could come in, Henderson is all these things come into play tomorrow. These are the games that tell. These are the games that we've been critical of the fans for since the start of the season. You know, it shouldn't just be Champions League games and the big Anfield games where the fans are going off their fucking head. But as is the case, tomorrow will be, you know, when everyone stands up you're going to see the fire. The fire will be in the bellies. You'll see it in Jordan Henderson when the first whistle goes. And I just think we'll have too much firepower for him tomorrow.
What have you made of the Raheem Sterling situation? Seems very much out of favour, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's been very, very surprising because he was one of England's best players at the Euros. So you thought that would have just continued into the Man City Premier League season. And I don't know, there was talk during the summer that the players, they were going to sell Sterling and Mahrez to fund the Grealish deal. And then we thought the money left over was going to go towards the Kane deal. And, could it be a case that Pep told them, look, you're going to be part of the deal to bring in one or two of these players, and he was told he's going to be a big part player, and that's why he's being left out. But he burned bridges with Liverpool fans, but on his day, you can't question his quality. You know what I mean? And it's been a surprise to see him overlooked on many occasions. Us saying that now, he'll probably start tomorrow. But yeah, it's been very, very. I'm surprised that a lot of City fans haven't questioned him. Maybe they're just happy with how things are going, and Grealish coming in, and they have so much expectation on Phil Foden. Mahrez has kind of stood up when he's been put into the team. But yeah, it's been very, very surprising. Which hasn't been talked about a lot on the likes of Soccer Saturday or on Match of the Day, stuff like that. So there will come a time, I'd say, if City get a couple of injuries, and why is he not being in the team? But yeah, it's a strange one, and I'm sure something will come out eventually. But yeah, he was one of the first names on the team sheet last year, and they just go to nothing this year.
Yeah, he was heavily linked with Real during the summer as well, if I remember right from our transfer shows. But yeah, I think that whole summer of certain players would have to go to fund other players coming in and stuff like that has had a kind of an unsettling way in terms of Man City, hasn't it? I mean, even when you see them playing, I mean, they had an outstanding win against Chelsea, but I mean, Chelsea were so bad on the day, weren't they? I mean, when you look at Chelsea, they were a shadow of themselves, and they brought some more of that, I think, even into the Juventus game during the week, so they might be just going through a bit of a patch at the moment with Tuchel. But again, I mean, you have to go to the bridge and you have to perform at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So, and that's what they did. So I think we're coming into this as the form team, really. I mean, I know we had that blip against Brentford, but we're, as you said, we're creating lots of chances. We're not always taking them and stuff like that. But as you said, tomorrow could be a day where we create those chances and a good few of them hit the back of the net. But it'd be nice to lay down a marker, wouldn't it? Especially going into an international break and bring that momentum with us. Rather than say a poor performance or a draw, and you don't have a match next week to get over it, you have to carry it for 2 weeks and then try and bring it back. So yeah, it's a pivotal game. It's obviously it's a top of the table 6-pointer, really, isn't it? These matches, when you think about it, for us to be able to put distance between ourselves and City at this early stage would lay down a serious marker.
Especially with it being a case of we're a point ahead of them at the moment, so 4 points, it's kind of, you need to have 2 bad games then for them, and them to have two good games to kind of get ahead of you again. So yeah, it keeps them at longer than arm's length away from us. And then when Man United drawn today, it 3 points ahead of them. You'd expect Chelsea to win today. But yeah, it's tomorrow for me is the day. We looked at the first four games, and I said the toughest game would be Leeds. I said if we picked up 12 points, obviously 12 points would be fantastic, but we picked up 10 points. We drew against Chelsea, and then we wiped the floor with Leeds. Since then, only the Brentford game, kind of, we were sloppy, and Brentford thoroughly deserved the point that they got. No disrespect to them. But we talked about afterwards, especially ourselves, saying that it's best to get that performance out of the way. If we'd have went to Brentford and beat them convincingly, as a lot of people expected us to do, and then went out tomorrow against Man City and put in that performance and got a hiding or didn't win and missed umpteen chances, then there'd be serious question marks. Well, if this is Liverpool play against how Liverpool are going to perform against a team that they're expected to go neck and be head to head with for the Premier League title, I think there'll be more questions asked after tomorrow than there would have been after the Brentford game. But tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is when everyone needs to stand up, including the crowd. And then the boys on the bench, when they come in, they'll be expected to go into things 100 miles an hour. Everyone has to be pulling the same direction tomorrow. And yeah, tomorrow is the day that a marker needs to be set to say, we want our league title back.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Give us your predictions.
3-1, Mo Salah with a brace.
I'm thinking that as well. I'm thinking 3-1. And I did Mo Salah earlier in the bookies to score 2. But I also did a little sneaky one that's in there. And we mentioned that on Beat the Bookie earlier. Virgil van Dijk to score tomorrow is 8-1. And I like the taste of that for the third goal. So that's what I'd put in there. So yeah, I think 3-1.
He's due one, isn't he? And especially with all the talk of Diaz being a better defender than him. To win tomorrow and very big Verge to get a big powerful header, and the place going ballistic at the end of it all. I take a win whatever way possible. Yeah, when you say these things, it makes it seem a bit sweeter if it happens.
Yeah, I like that idea of us keep on pushing forward and goals coming from different areas of the park as well, so it keeps that momentum going, if you like. Also, I would recommend to people check out the video that Liverpool posted the other day on YouTube where the boys are handing out the FIFA cards. I don't know if you've checked that out yet or not. It's absolutely classic. Robbo is just unbelievable in it. Some great parts.
Every time I can't take them serious. Every time that they call Matip Joel, I can't take them serious at all. You've been downgraded.
Yeah, the other one, the bit in it where they went over to Hendo in the canteen having his breakfast or his lunch, and he said, "Captain, you're not going to be happy. I think you've gone down from last year." It's just brilliant, man. A Mane lying on the bench getting a massage or whatever it is, or getting looked after, and they hand him the thing, and they go, "Not as good as last year." Just getting grief from all of them, but they're hammering the whole lot of them. It's absolutely brilliant. And Keita was shell shocked as well, but it's a brilliant video. I'd recommend any of our listeners go check it out. It's just hilarious. But anyway, this has been your Liverpool versus Man City Super Sunday preview. 4:30 tomorrow. We will be back with a match reaction tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. And it better be the right result or someone's going to get torn asunder. As always, Dynamo Podcast Network for the videos, Spotify for audio versions of the show. And if you want to hit us up, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you'll find us there at Session Shankly and the other Instagram. Dano, till next time, a pleasure.
Come on, you Reds.